quiet as I can. Okay, no problem. Is that alright if I...
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, this is it. I thought it was a different...
It's slowed down. But it is what it is. Yeah. Right, slow one. Okay. Stop.
No, it's fine. Hey, mate. No, I have to share my shop.
Great song. Oh my god.
Who's looking for love? Love? What's this? Yeah.
Looking in the wrong place.
Singing. I love the burp. Cheers. I mean, I'm not condoning it, but you know, I don't know.
That's really bizarre when people do that.
I expected to see one for a job in America and they don't think it was shit. Actually, what's other than I'll watch it. I've got my phone. It's this man weird. That's the break there. Too bad. That's a big man singing.
The Romans stole it, Shakespeare did it better. The Americans had a go, and Richard Curtis is still trying to do it. Date Above the Door presents Found Wanting. Let's see that dance again. well, here you go. 5 performers enter the stage. These are the performers up close. And this is them leaving. Welcome to Wuthering Heights, a lovely old house in the heart of Yorkshire. Let's meet Nellie, the hard-working maid who raises the children. She works for Mr. Earnshaw, the kind man who owns Wuthering Heights. Tonight he returns home from a trip to Liverpool, bearing one more gift than he said he would.
It's an orphan I found on the streets.
Let's meet Cathy, Mr. Earnshaw's daughter. This is the first time she and Heathcliff ever meet.
Where's my present?
I'm sorry, Cathy, I broke it. Rescuing your new brother.
Well, where is he going to sleep?
In Cathy and Hindley's room, of course.
He's not sleeping in my room.
Nellie waits. 2 years pass and the kind Mr. Earnshaw dies, meaning that his son has to come home from college.
Things are going to be different around here. I won't treat you as my father did. You've never been my
Nellie is still waiting.
Late. Where's Catherine?
We were playing at Frostcross Grange.
Heathcliff, you've been told not to play by the Grange and you've been told not to play with Catherine.
No, but we were laughing at the Lintons. They
Heathcliff.
wouldn't let me help her.
What?
She cried dog, and they took her inside. They wouldn't let me in.
Is she okay?
I don't know, they took her inside, they wouldn't let me sleep.
You're to go to bed immediately. You better pray she is well enough to return by the morning or Hindley will kill you. Heathcliff.
Cathy spends 2 months with the Lintons, recovering from her injuries, and she begins to fall for their son, Edgar.
Scared?
Why?
They're better than me.
You don't know that. You could be a prince or an emperor for all we know. Don't ever let me hear you say different.
The day Cathy comes home, Heathcliff cleans his clothes and tries his hardest to dress smartly for her.
Heathcliff? Edgar, you must laugh at Should I marry Edgar? Or do you love him? I love him because he is young and rich, and I know he may not be young and rich forever, but he is now. I had a dream that I died and went to heaven, and I hated it so much, and the angels were so angry with me that they threw me out, and I landed on the heath next to the heights. My love for Edgar is it's like the foliage ever changing, but maybe I am Heath. But don't you see, if I marry Heathcliff, we'll be beggars on the streets. If I marry Edgar, I can look after him. I can take care. Heathcliff, how much do you think you have?
Heartbroken, Heathcliff runs away and leaves England for many years. Maybe he went to China to see if his mother was an empress, or India to see if his father was a king. Some people think he sailed to America and made his fortune. I like to think that he just travelled, never really finding what he was looking for. All we know for sure is that when he returned, he had become a fine man, and wealthy too. He was able to pay off Hindley's gambling debts, and in doing so, became the owner of Wuthering Heights. With this victory, Heathcliff was now more determined than ever to make Cathy love him again.
Is the mistress in?
Yes, she's just... You've come home. Where are you staying? You can't be staying with Hindley.
Actually, I am. Can I see her?
Miss Cathy, there's someone here to see you. Heathcliff? Stay here. Edgar Heathcliff's here. Edgar, how dare you look down on my friend like that? Should I ask Nellie to set a place for 4 of us? Or are you and Isabella above eating with us? Shall I be reduced to going downstairs and eating in the pantry with the servants? Because if that's where he belongs, then so do I. Good, I'm glad you've come to your senses.
Edgar's sister Isabella joins them. Isabella starts to fall for the new Heathcliff.
You forget how well I know you. You don't want to marry her. You're just leaving the poor girl on. Fine. Marry her. See if I can.
If I thought for 1 minute that you really wanted me to marry Isabella, I'd slit my throat.
This isn't for you, me and Heathcliff at all. What are you going to do? You can hardly take him on. He's far more brutal than you are. You'll never win this fight. Now I'm done.
You're a dead man. You took my father's love. You took my sister's love. You've taken my money. You're going to take my house. My family house. You've taken my maid. Even my son has more respect for you. It's not your name above the door. The date isn't for you. The world isn't for you, peasant. You may act like, dress like me, smell like me, but you'll always be the shit on my shoe. Here, take the clothes off my back. Might as well complete your costume. So here we are, Heathcliff. I've lost my wife, my child, my wealth, my family. I have nothing more to lose. All I have is you, the scum who's haunted my existence. And we can't exist together anymore.
No matter how much Hindley torments him, Heathcliff doesn't rise to it because he's the better man. His love for Cathy is all he cares about. But he does have one more obstacle, Edgar. Cathy falls into ill health and spends months in bed. Edgar heartlessly refuses to let Heathcliff see her. Desperate, Heathcliff begs Nellie to let him see his beloved. The moment she agrees, Heathcliff is at Cathy's side, ready to catch her as she falls. He finally has his love in his arms. Personality. Fucking incredible. Well, if you say so, Emma. Sense of humour. Amazing. Optimist or pessimist? Optimist. Work ethic. Strong. Phobias. Water, fire and identical twins. Interesting. GCSEs. A star. A, 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 B, 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 and B. A levels. A, and C. Undergraduate degree. pending. Additional training, driving, DOE and CSCS. Languages, French. Age, 21. Non-smoker. Allergies, hay fever, dust, pine nuts and cats. Eyesight, bad. Medical conditions, IBS, dyspraxia, all 9 requirements of hypermobility, acid reflux, asthma, anxiety, depression, indigestion, short tendons, eczema, acne, flat feet, arthritis in right shoulder, curved spine and tilted pelvis. Zoe, I think you need to see a doctor. Agility, not your strong point. Strength, great. Stamina, shocking. Attractiveness, average in the right eye. Tattoos, none. Family income, over £100,000 per year. House price, £500,000-ish. Personal savings, £2,500. Parents' occupations, unemployed and head of child services for the London Borough of Merton. Your parents are still together. Number of jobs held, 6. Number of jobs quit, 2. Number of jobs fired from, none, but was made redundant from 1. Currently employed, volunteer work, school work, a nanny and Africa, twice. Agility, not a bad dancer. Strength, could be better. Stamina, awful. Attractiveness, ask his girlfriend. Tattoos, 1 on his right forearm. Personality, cracking. Sense of humour, pretty good. Optimist or pessimist, slightly optimistic. Work ethic, good. Phobias, dolls and ventriloquist dummies. Creative, performed at the Brighton Fringe Festival. Made 2 short films, written short stories and staging a play. Academic, a first for directing. You've been going on about that one for a while. Not athletic. Longest relationship, ongoing. Experiences, have climbed the Great Wall of China and an active volcano. Have seen the pyramids, Niagara Falls, CN Tower, Empire State Building and the Taj Mahal. Agility, pretty good. Strength, capable of benching over own body weight. Stamina, excellent. Attractiveness, you have left this blank. Tattoos, none.
There's so deep in the eyes, I touch on you more and more every time. When you leave, I'm begging you to go. Call your name 2 or 3 times in a row. Such a funny thing for me to try to explain. How I'm feeling in my pride is the one to blame. Cause I know I don't understand just how you're looking, doing no one else can. Tell me looking so crazy, right?
Wuthering Heights. It's a classic tale of endless love, as wild and cruel as the Yorkshire moors on which it is set. And that's great. But that description does fail to mention a lot of the really interesting stuff. Well, interesting for my purposes. I will never be a repressed 19th century young woman. I'm a very much expressed 21st century young man, and I have experienced love. What I've not experienced is growing up on a stark and lifeless moor. I don't even know what a moor looks like. Nobody ever remembers the brutality or the bloodshed of Bronte's novel. And that's a shame. I think you're missing out. So I'm going to share it with you. The Heathcliff that I remember. The tortured soul.
So
the dark
Beyonce is Mrs. Carter. Well, that doesn't mean she isn't Sasha Fierce. Patty is just stuck in a world that isn't ready for Sasha Fierce. That doesn't mean she isn't Mrs. Linton. Before Heathcliff comes back, she's still all up in the kitchen with her heels. Metaphorically, obviously, she had maids for them. The thing that makes her all crazy is her confusion about Heathcliff. The whole way through the book, right up until her death scene, she's all like...
Baby, you're making a fool of me. You got me strong and I don't care who sees. Baby, you got me You got me so crazy, baby. Got me looking so crazy right now.
But then Edgar comes along. He symbolises everything that Kathy has ever dreamed. Here is the example of a hustler at the top of his game. He has the swag, he cocks what he wants, and he has the etiquette that Kathy desires. He is of her class. A diva is a female version of a hustler. And Kathy does. She hustles Edgar into marrying her, into giving herself a better life.
With softness, I looked through the window. I possess the power to depart as much as a cat possesses the power to leave a mouse half killed. A bird half eaten. I saw a quarrel that merely effected a close intimacy. It allows me to confess myself as a true lover.
But then Heathcliff throws a straw. Quite rightly. I mean, he's grown up with Kathy being all crazy in love. This is when Kathy does the whole, my love for Edgar is like the foliage ever changing, but my love for Heathcliff is as sturdy as the rocks below. But all Heathcliff is her saying she's marrying Edgar. So Heathcliff runs away and Kathy sits crying in the rain for all. She goes all deja vu, crazy, insane Beyonce.
I don't make the list, don't be mad at me. I just make the hits like a factory. I'm just one to one, nothing after me. No deja vu, just me and my heart.
I can't go anywhere when I'm thinking that you're there. You make it everywhere, it's true. Gotta be having deja vu. I'm in my mind, I want you here. You know the next one, I don't care. Because I'm missing you. That I'm having deja vu. Oh yeah, I'm trying to catch myself. Oh yeah.
It's like when Beyonce and Jay-Z split up in 2006. And then Jay-Z went and wrote all these songs about how Beyonce chose her career. Well, they both chose their career. If you think about it, back then marriage was a contract. Marrying Edgar was Kathy's career choice. It's the closest thing to independence she can get. But hot damn does she miss Jay-Z.
I was an orphan found on the streets of Liverpool. After my adoption by Mr. Earnshaw, I was given the name Heathcliff.
I was a beggar on the streets of Liverpool. After my adoption by Mr. Earnshaw, I was given a name that had once belonged to a dead child. My new sister Kathy hated me because I had broken her fiddle. My new brother Hindley despised me because he was no longer the only son. He was older than me and gave me bruises every day. He insulted the color of my skin and called me a thief. This continued for 2 years until Mr. Earnshaw died and Hindley became the master of the house. I was made a servant. My sister Kathy now pitied me. That's a pretty tough upbringing. You can understand all of his brooding. I would love to have something to brood about, but I just don't. So I do this instead. I could tell you about the first night that Heathcliff spends at Wuthering Heights. He's supposed to stay in Kathy and Hindley's room, but he doesn't. He goes and he sleeps in the hallway outside Mr. Earnshaw's door, in the cold and dark all night long. That's loyalty. That's also not that interesting. What you really want to hear about is how he later murders his brother Hindley.
What you really want to hear about is the man which Catherine chooses to be. The man she chooses to marry. The man she chooses to spend a life relationship with.
We're told that great love stories have happy endings.
Imagine a man. He's this tall. Black hair, green hazel eyes. This man is instilled with civilized virtues.
Imagine a woman with long golden hair, eyes that you can get lost in. Women so in love that the rest of the world just doesn't matter.
A man born into a family called the Lintons has a life which others aspire to have.
A woman looking for her happy ending. A happy ending is the finale of a plot of fiction in which almost everything turns out the best for the protagonists, their sidekicks, and basically everyone except for the villains. It's when the guy finally gets the girl. It's when the fight is resolved. It's when they get caught up by the romance.
Is it? Romance is said to be an expression of love.
It's when the characters seem to be happy again.
Someone being impulsive.
It's when he realises he just can't live without
Someone
her.
being imaginative.
It's defeating the dragon.
Unrealistic.
It's when she gets off the plane.
Someone is said to act well recklessly when they're in love. Take Catherine, for example. She marries Edgar because if she becomes a Linton, she can help Heathcliff to rise, putting him out of her brother's power.
Well, it's when the truth is finally revealed.
She describes her relationship with Edgar like the foliage in the woods, time will change it. I'm well aware, like winter changes the trees.
It's when the truth is finally revealed. It's when the shadows, it's dying in each other's arms. It's slaying that dragon. It's that life-saving kiss.
That's not this relationship. This relationship between Catherine and Edgar is not romantic. Look, the reason she's attracted to Edgar is his breeding and wealth. He inherited this, yes?
Yes.
This is not romantic. This is not a romantic relationship. Who's to say what romance is?
It's when he gets there just in time. It's when the bad guy gets defeated. It's when she wakes up from the coma.
It's not.
It's when he turns the car
It's him
around.
staying there
It's when
while
he
she's in the
forgives
coma.
her.
That's romantic.
It's learning to abandon their pride. It's that speech on New Year's Eve. It's when he reads the letters that
You're
she
not listening
never
to what I'm saying.
sent. It's when their differences don't matter.
No, differences do matter.
Thank you. The differences do matter.
You're not listening.
No,
to
you're
what
not
I'm
listening to me.
saying.
You're being imaginative.
Because what all
You're
these
not
books and all these
listening.
films are
That's
just from
way too
fucking
creative.
So Cathy decides the logical thing to do is to go on and marry Edgar. And although she still has periods of depression, she also has periods of contentment. I mean, she's happy with him. Happy enough to have his child. It's like when Jay-Z and Beyonce got back together after the 2006 breakup, after all the love child rumours. When Jay-Z learned what Beyonce wanted. He was no longer just her lover, her dream. But he learned how to be her desire, her reality. Pre-breakup, he was her Heathcliff. Post-breakup, he learned how to be her Edgar. But then Heathcliff comes back, and Cathy gets all confused. Because deep down inside, she has this animal instinct desire for him. Part of you is like, just fuck him. Get it out your system. But women didn't really do that back then. Women weren't so in touch with their Sasha Fierce as they are now. The situation is made completely worse by Edgar refusing to let Cathy see Heathcliff. But Cathy just brushes him off, saying that physically, Edgar's got nothing on Heathcliff. He'd always lose.
I'm the one
Heathcliff's been out all day brooding about something. He's stuck in the house where Hindley is waiting to murder him with a knife pistol that he's taped together. Isabella, Heathcliff's wife, wants him not to come in because, you know, he'll die. Undeterred, our hero replies,
"You'd better open the door, you."
"You'd better open the door, you." Except, we don't get to hear what he calls his darling wife. All Bronte writes is some elegant term which I don't care to repeat. Well, there's a couple of possibilities of what he could have said here, but I'll let you imagine your fate. Anyway, Hindley takes advantage of this linguistic debate and shoves his knife pistol through the window. Before he can squeeze the trigger, Heathcliff disarms him, smashes the window with a stone, and climbs in.
I looked at my brother Hindley weeping on the floor. I remembered how he had once stood over me and laughed. I extended a hand to help him, and when he gave me his arm,
I slit his wrist with his own blade, placed it dripping into my pocket, and as he lay bleeding, crushed his skull with my boot. He died a few months later.
Imagine a man. A tall man, black hair, green hazel eyes. A man built with civilized virtues. A man aware of others around him, but was always modest.
Edgar was the
A
only
whimpering little shit of a man. He stole my Kathy, so I fucked his sister.
His name is Edgar. Now imagine a second man. Tall, if not taller. Thicker black hair and dark brown eyes. This man's name is Heathcliff. A man raised on the streets, a product of the working class. Take these two men in a confrontation. This happens in chapter 11. Their eyes locked in a jewel of testosterone. Heathcliff ready to fight. Edgar has his woman by his side. Edgar steps down. He steps down because he knows that his gentlemanly upbringing gives him a disadvantage in a fight against Heathcliff. He also steps down because he is well aware that Catherine witnessed the scene. She taunts him, saying,
Heathcliff would as soon as raise a finger to you as a king would march his armies against a colony of mice.
As you can see, it's his refinement which is tied down to his helplessness and impotence.
It's when he buys the yellow car. It's when he proposes and it's when she says yes. It's starting a war for her. It's when he gives that speech on New Year's Eve. It's when their families accept it. It's learning to abandon their pride. It's when he realises he made the right choice 20 years ago. It's when he gets the girl and he gets accepted into Juilliard. It's realising that the love of your life is your husband. It's when the train is delayed.
Personality. Funny and entertaining. Willing to help someone if needed. Sense of humour. You say that you have a good one. Optimist or pessimist? A slight pessimist. Work ethic. You love to work to earn money. Phobias. Spiders and heights. Agility. 2 out of 10. Strength. 2 out of 10. Stamina. 2 out of 10. Attractiveness. 5 out of 10. Tattoos. None. Personality. Intelligent and kind. Sense of humour. Sarcastic yet witty. Optimist or pessimist? Optimist. Work ethic. Very strong. Phobias. Slugs and snails. And puppy dog tails by any chance? Family income. £60,000 per year. House price, £420,000. Personal savings, £2,000. Parents' occupations, facilities manager and a health visitor. Your parents are still together. Stephen, you are Kathy Deathbed Heathcliff. Creative, stagecraft, acting and singing. Technical, building, business and basic computer abilities. Physical, strong, tall. I don't think that being tall is a skill. Academic, general knowledge of facts. Mechanical, can change a tyre. Creative, amateur dramatics group and musicals. Athletic, basketball captain, rugby player and handball. Relationships, long-lasting. Experiences, scouting chief, Scout Gold Award, and have shaken hands with Gary Barlow. Paul, you are Joseph, the caretaker. Family income, £40,000 per year. House price, £750,000. Personal savings, £8,000. Parents' occupations, British Airways ground staff and NATO immigration officer. Your parents are still together. 8 GCSEs, A star to C. 4 A-levels, English, media, film and drama. Undergraduate degree, performing arts, pending. Possible first to 2-1 classification. Additional training, advanced driving certificate, basic and advanced sandwich making. Languages, Chinese, but can't read it or understand the grammar or hold a full conversation, so not really. Al, you are Edgar, the good years. Creative, university productions and stagecoach. Athletic, games captain. Longest relationship, 2 years. Experiences, Africa, guides, have climbed Tabletop Mountain. Emma, you are Mrs. Linton, Isabella's mum. Personality, you left this bit blank. Sense of humour, you answered yes. I assume that you're sarcastic. Optimist or pessimist? Realist. Work ethic, you didn't bother to answer this question. Phobias, moths, feather dusters, Pinocchio, insects and home invasion. Zoe, you are Catherine Earnshaw.
Isabella had become a fine woman, so much so that I began to
fuck her.
So I married her.
And then I killed her dog. I snapped its neck and threw it from the door. After that, she did not want to fuck, so I raped her. Finally, she ran away to London and gave birth to my pathetic son. She died a few months later.
So Heathcliff has run away and come back. Catherine has married Edgar. Heathcliff has married Isabella. Kathy's gone nuts again. She's on the verge of giving birth, and Heathcliff wants to see her one last time.
So Heathcliff not only has the resolve to marry a woman and essentially torture her, but he does it just to spite Kathy, the woman he actually loves. That's messed up, but you have to kind of admire it. Okay, I suppose he is romantic. There's that bit where he carves his and Kathy's initials onto a tree, so that their love is forever apart from the moors. How does a tree grow on the moors if they're so like?
So Heathcliff goes and sees Kathy, and he begs her to talk to him. He doesn't want to live the rest of his life without her, but he does. He spends the rest of his life haunted by the fact that he doesn't have her, that he knows the ghost exists, and that he can't see it.
Imagine that man one more time. His name's Edgar, tall man, black hair, dark, his eyes. The man built with civilized virtues. The man we are led to believe is the romantic hero. The man we're meant to believe is Catherine's desires. He is not. It is absurd to believe that this man is the romantic hero of this book. That this man is the desires of Catherine. Why is it not the second man? The tall, if not taller man, the man who has worked the fields. Surely he is the man who understands true virtues of life.
It's something that Disney films and Nicholas Sparks novels have been drumming into us since we were little. That fairy tale wedding and happy ever after that since we were young, we've been encouraged to dream about. We're told that great love stories have happy endings. So why isn't this great love story celebrated for the true happy ending that does exist within?
Charlotte Bronte, in the preface edition, 1850 of Wuthering Heights, suggests Edgar is a constance and tenderness man. She goes on to suggest that Emily Bronte, the author of Wuthering Heights, uses Edgar to show all true virtues of all human beings. This is not so. I do not see all true virtues being represented in this book. Show me where.
Violence is a true virtue.
Violence is a true virtue, yes. But Edgar's only shown to be sympathetic and weak. These are not all correspondence of all characteristics showing all true virtues of all human beings. Therefore, it's inaccurate. I suppose you could say there's one thing they have in common with Heathcliff and Edgar, and that is an attraction to drama.
So, Nellie takes a piece of Cathy's hair and a piece of Heathcliff's and intertwines them together inside a locket, symbolising their eternal love. Heathcliff wears this locket around his neck until the day he dies, which is lovely. Thing is, there's also a piece of Edgar's hair in that locket. He's like the most awkward third wheel in history. Heathcliff intentionally leaves it in there, just to represent his twisted victory. But you don't care about that either. You want to hear about the bit where Heathcliff digs up Cathy's grave, 18 years after she's been buried. That's a lot of decomposition.
I held her in my arms.
Her rotting flesh falling off the bones.
Not a single word said.
She could no longer protest.
She was finally mine.
I looked at her face, still recognizable.
There was a smile on her lips, and it belonged to me.
I kissed her for the last time. I have left instructions that when I die, I shall be buried next to her, and the adjoining sides of our coffins be removed, so that we might decay into the ground as one heaping mound of flesh and bone. That's a story.
So basically, this could have all been solved in several different ways. If Cathy could have learned to love Edgar as passionately, if Cathy could have accepted living as a beggar, or if Mr. Angel had really been able to raise Cathy to the same social status as he. Beyonce loves Jay-Z, and they work because they've learned to love each other. Beyonce still has the passion of pre-2006, but the security and contentment of post-2006 Jay-Z. Heathcliff could never learn to be Edgar. Edgar could never learn to be Heathcliff. Cathy never has the love of her life and her equal. She always has to pick either or. She does something very intuitive and picks her equal. She picks the man that would give her the life she wants, that would raise her children the way she'd like, that could fulfill her desires. Cathy is like... she's like Wonder Woman looking for her Superman, but she kind of gets her Superman. But she never really finds her Jay-Z. As much as Beyonce likes to think of her and Jay-Z as Bonnie and Clyde, Beyonce ain't all about the crazy.
Look, I'm not talking about Heathcliff and Catherine, okay? I'm talking about young Catherine and Hareton. Does that surprise you? How can it be said that Heathcliff and Catherine are the couple in this great true love, with a man who is capable of raping his wife and killing animals, and a woman who continuously plays mind games? The couple that married and had children with other people and never got together. They spent their lives driving each other mad. Tell me, how could anyone find that romantic? I'm talking about young Catherine and Hareton, the couple that found each other, went through some bad times, fell in love, and to what we know, lived happily ever after. Now that's the true love story with the true happy ending.
Likely to happen, or taking a risk and jumping into the unknown. Look at the heart of the story. Two souls intertwined, the rest is just romance and myth. Personally, I'm not exactly the best risk taker. I like my facts, and I'll normally only attempt something if there's a level of certainty. You're given a decision. It can go two ways, let's call them heads or tails. Heads is the option you would prefer. You know there's a chance of success, and when you flip the coin, this is the one you secretly hope for in the air. And then there's tails. It's not exactly negative, but this one leaves you feeling anxious and nervous. Let's say the decision isn't even yours. You have minimal control over the outcome, and you're left waiting and found wanting. Here we are on a stage, 5 before. You listen to the words that we say as if they were the truth. You can read a book from start to finish and the words and chapters will run the same and never change, but in theatre, it's always possible to start again. You read, you interpret, you can tell a story any way you want. You miss the way that she looks at you from afar. You miss the way she runs her fingers through your hair, the way she holds your hand, the way she argues with you, the way she angers you, the way she makes you feel like you're the only one that matters. You miss lying together on the moors. You miss spending every waking hour with her. You miss the intensity of every gaze, the moment you embrace and hold one another. You miss the times waking up next to her. You miss the late night messaging and sharing of terrible jokes, but that doesn't matter because at least one of you found them funny. You miss drinking together till the early hours. You miss the smiling, the talking, the laughing, the kissing. You miss those moments. You miss every moment. You're waiting. You want to feel like something's real, like nothing else in the world can feel the same. You remember the way they say your name when you want something. You remember the times that you'd stay up late talking about everything they want to talk about, everything they want you to know. You forget any times of discomfort or unease and remind yourself why you're there in the first place. We're human beings, just like you. We think, we feel, we love, we lose, we laugh, and we cry. Sometimes we do look back and only see the negatives, but what's the point in looking back if you're only going to see the bad things? What's the purpose in forgetting when all you want to do is remember?
Subject that philosophers often avoid. In their attempt to rationalise the world, they have struggled to place love within their ideas. Love is paramount to finding personal utopia, but can just as easily lead to dystopia. Love has played the pages of books, the gaslights of stage, the bases of music, and the reels of cinema, since humans have first been able to write down the stories that have captivated their culture. It's been building a Trojan horse, it's been launching 1,000 ships. It's been the star-crossed lovers, it's been teaching the blind man to see, it's been learning to love, even though you've been taught to hate. It's been thousands of Cathys and Heathcliffs, it's been some Catherine and Haretons. It's all the stories where Pandora opens the box. It's the desired object, it's intrigue, and all of the terrible things that happen afterwards. It's the love and hope that flutters out. It's just outside the Greek abstract. It's both slightly out of grasp and firmly in hand. It's a woman you've loved for 4 years. It's a man who broke your heart moving in with someone else. It's the new adventure you're about to start with the woman you love. It's a woman you could never have. It's seeing a new love blossom. Love and hope don't always come together. It's more often balancing love and hate.
I want to do Cathy's death scene again. I just feel like Heathcliff needs some sort of resolve.
Resolve? Are you joking? He doesn't get any resolve. They just shout at each other for like 4 pages. It's hardly the romantic scene where she dies in his arms. I mean, have you even read this book?
No.
Well, who has read the book?
I who at the end.
Zoe, tell him where Edgar is when Cathy dies.
Where is he? Zoe? Where's Edgar?
He's out.
Out where?
He's at church.
Now what?
You could do the Catherine Hareton bit.
Okay, so I guess I'm Hareton then.
Yeah, come on,
Right,
come on.
so
Guys,
I can...
the book ends with Catherine and Heathcliff.
No, it doesn't.
Kinda. It ends with Lockwood, Heathcliff's tenant, and he sees Catherine and Hareton fall in love, and he sees Heathcliff die and Hareton mourn over.
Who's Lockwood?
That's irrelevant. But Lockwood's there. Lockwood's there, and he's on the moor, and he sees this boy, and the boy's crying. He's seen the ghost of Heathcliff and Catherine, and then he goes and sees the graves of Edgar and. It's just it's easier if I show you.
Imagine a man. That man is the ideal. A man who remembers. A man who learns to be what you want. A man who is loyal. A man who isn't a dark and brooding villain. A man walks across the stage.